The Biden administration is developing a plan to require foreign visitors coming to the United States to be fully vaccinated as part of an effort to eventually lift travel restrictions that bar much of the world from entering the U.S. This as the Pentagon is expected to announce a mandatory vaccine policy tomorrow requiring that 1.3 million active duty members get the shot, even though the vaccine has yet to be fully approved by the FDA. Here with reaction, founder of Young Americans Against Socialism and a contributor here at The First TV, Morgan Zegers. Morgan, good to see you.
Thanks for having me back, Buck.
So it's getting more aggressive out there from the vaccine mandate perspective. In fact, here is a piece written in The Atlantic that stated that unvaccinated people need to bear the burden beyond limiting the coronavirus's flow from hotspots to the rest of the country. Allowing only vaccinated people on domestic flights will change minds too. Initially, I believe this story's headline was put the unvaccinated on the no-fly list, like we're all members of Al-Qaeda if we haven't been vaccinated. It's pretty shocking stuff, Morgan, but some of us kind of expected it. Yeah.
No, that actually really shocked me then, because I need to fly and I'm not getting vaccinated, Buck. It's not going to happen.
What really? So this is fascinating to me. What is your plan for? I mean, I'm here in New York City. And I'm being told that in a couple of weeks, unless I can show my papers, remember, ID for voting, evil, racist, not allowed. Vaccine, vaccine papers, so to speak, or whatever it is, a QR code, or that's totally fine, because Fauci says so. But I'm going to be barred from bars, restaurants, movies. Not that I go to the movies anymore, but you know what I mean. Public accommodations, maybe even some workplaces. So what are you going to do if that happens where you are?
I have no idea what I'm going to do. I know for me and most of the people in my life, we are no longer going to businesses that would even try to require only vaccinated from being able to get their services. We're just not interested in it. Same thing with supporting companies that are going to require their employees to get vaccinated. I have two thoughts on this. First of all, this is coming down to force versus choice. It's going to be very apparent soon that the more conservative people in America are actually the more pro-choice people in general. I know it's usually the term for abortion, but when it comes to making choices for yourself, we are really the choice side versus the force side, which is the left. The second thing is I can't believe we're even talking about this as they let hundreds of thousands of people just walk into our country maskless and COVID positive. I don't know if you just saw a headline. I saw it this morning. One Texas town has over 7,000 people that have been released that are COVID positive. And it's just insane at this point. I'm down here in Texas, and to know that there's COVID positive people walking around that came here illegally, while I'm told that I might not be able to fly domestically to just do my own work because I'm not vaccinated and I'm 24 years old, it's a little frustrating.
The White House announced that COVID-19 vaccination status for student athletes will be incorporated in sports physicals and that pediatricians will be sent to speak to parents at schools in an effort to boost vaccination among children ages 12 and up. What do you make of this?
I cannot believe this. And I've had people that come to me, and I don't know if you've ever been asked this, but they say, how come you were so excited to celebrate Trump achieving this vaccination and now you won't get it yourself and you and the rest of the conservatives won't do it? And I tell them it's very great that we have this vaccination for people who are at risk of getting COVID and dying, for the elderly, for my grandparents, because for them, it's better to take the vaccine instead of dying of COVID versus taking the vaccine and potentially getting a symptom down the road from this non-approved vaccine. So for me, a healthy 24-year-old, I'm not going to do it. And the fact they're doing it to our kids is shocking, but it's also not shocking, Buck, because they're allowing kids right now to take gender-changing chemicals and basically become sterile as teenagers just because they think they want to be the other gender. So none of it really makes sense. And in general, the left is just completely anti-science. And so none of this should shock us. We just need to be more prepared and actually fight back on the constitutionality of all of this, because they are, once again, the side of force, and they are showing it. They are exposing themselves, and we need to act and react to this accordingly.
I mean, the White House put out this statement that said for young people, getting vaccinated right away is the best way to get back to things they love, like playing sports, completing their studies, spending time with friends and loved ones. That was out of the White House. The data is very clear on teenagers being at almost zero risk from this. What is the White House doing here? Like, what is the mentality that's making them think they need to have a public information campaign, propaganda campaign, you could say, where they're trying to convince all the parents out there to get their 13, 14, 15-year-olds vaccinated so otherwise they can't compete in sports, they can't actually enjoy their lives?
Well, it's kind of funny that they're saying this now as if we're going to believe them anymore when they had told all of these people that if you get vaccinated, you can go out. You don't have to wear a mask anymore. And they've already walked back that promise. And so, how can you believe it? I have a theory that all of these kids that are growing up in this era of COVID are going to grow up one day. And my hope is that they will have the ability to critically think for themselves as adults and say, what did the adults of our generation when we were kids do to us? What did the authority do to us? What did the government do to us? And hopefully they come out of this more questioning of authority in general and understanding that what they say isn't always true. For me, I really liked what Senator John Kennedy said. He was talking about the moratorium on evictions, and he said the people in the White House, the Biden administration, they think the Constitution is really just a barrier for them. It's just frustrating for them to have to deal with the Constitution instead of using it as guidelines for what they can and cannot do. And I think that's spot on, not only for the eviction moratorium, but now for this as well, trying to force people into this, saying we're going to take things from your lives. It's authoritarian, and that's what we're facing now, this growing regime of leftism.